Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're looking for recommendations on what manhwa to read, then here are some that I've read recently that might be of interest. Manhwa titles are timestamped in the video for your convenience. Our first manhwa for today is The Frozen Player Returns, a modern manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 150 on. Its main character is Seo Jung-ho, also known as Spectre. He was a member of a 5-person party that chose to sacrifice themselves to face the Frost Queen in her dungeon in Antarctica to bring humanity peace, resulting in all of them being frozen solid for seemingly forever. This though did not hold up, as 25 years later, Jung-ho thaws and has an opportunity to take a look at the world that he and his companions brought peace to. He realizes though, shortly thereafter, that his powers have been reset somewhat, and that the world still needs him and his companions, as there is still threats to humanity. His companions are still frozen solid though, but not for long, as he sees a potential hope to get them out. Will Jung-ho be able to do so? The story is 8 out of 10. A slow start mixed with a pace that is more reminiscent of slow burn dramas, it takes a while for this manhwa to settle in. Although it does provide enough story points and other pieces of information that keep the readers overall invested, as long as you can handle its slower pace, that is. It does, however, provide chunks of payoff as the story deepens throughout the 150 chapters that I've read. The characters are 6 out of 10. For the most part, there isn't really any depth to a lot of the characters. Sure, they have personalities, alignments, and various motives, but for the most part, everybody is very one-dimensional. If they're good for humanity, then great, they continue to do so. But if they're bad, there's no hope for them whatsoever, and they most likely will need to be dealt with. The art is 7 out of 10. With a rougher start considering it's a slow burn, the art doesn't really help its case in the beginning. Once it gets its feet wet and actually standing though, it's able to hold its own, and the illustrations for the various powers, battles, and overall picture improves enough to warrant the score. So if you're a fan of the modern fantasy genre that has humanity facing existential threats and are okay with a slower paced story with enough characters to binge for a bit, then give The Frozen Player Returns a shot. This next manhwa is Medical Return, a complete regression manhwa that I've read to completion, which is about 148 chapters with some extra after ending bits. The protagonist of this story is Kim Ji-hyun, a surgeon who lived an arduous life who one day, through some miraculous event, regresses back to the past when he was still attending school. Of course, any protagonist in this situation questions it, but realizes that he did truly go back to the past. Not wanting to live the same life he did, he aims to live the life of a dermatologist, a profession at least in his eyes is a more safe, certain, and profitable profession that would allow him to live in comfort. Life, though, clearly has some other plans for him, as both he and the readers will follow his second life that is full of ups, downs, love, hate, and hospital dramatics. The story is 8 out of 10. The initial presentation for the story is actually quite tame. It provides the context necessary for Ji-hyun's backstory while also providing an immediate goal for him as well. Like I already alluded though, things are not so simple, and the medical field has a lot in store for our dear surgeon Kim Ji-hyun. The characters are 9 out of 10. With the manhwa already being completed, the characters overall are good in my opinion. The main cast offers a complex web of relationships and connections, but doesn't hinder the progress required. There are some moments that may cause you to question as to why they would do a certain action or anything, but for the most part, they're relatable. The art is 8 out of 10. Given the medical focus of the manhwa, the art style is solid in portraying the necessary information to understand the situations that Ji-hyun goes through in the medical field. In addition, the emotions of the cast and the tensions that rise from the various situations is very well illustrated. So if you're a fan of modern regression manhwas and are curious as to how a medical focused one would be like to experience, then give Medical Return a chance to pull you into its narrative. Descended from Divinity is the name of our next manhwa. It's a reincarnation manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 140 on. Jung-hyuk is the name of its main character. A very powerful individual, think leader of a demonic sect if you're familiar with Mura manhwas. We're only introduced to this identity briefly before we realize that he is reincarnated as Roman Dmitri, the eldest son of the Dmitri household whose reputation is that of a fool. Now with Jung-hyuk taking over the life of Dmitri, it is time for him to face all of the problems with overwhelming force. Put your seatbelts on, as our Roman cannot be stopped now. The story is 7 out of 10. Following a more linear, overpowered style, Roman's road to dominance is straightforward. If there is an issue, deal with it accordingly, either with wits or the usual method of choice, personal action. There are some overall plot points and development as the story plays itself out, but it isn't anything overly complicated. The characters are also 7 out of 10. Given Roman's new overwhelming backstory, it's pretty fair to say that everyone around him would be surprised at this new demeanor and strength. While the majority of people are simple characters, there are at least some more interesting individuals that have a little bit more going on in their personality and motives. The art is 9 out of 10. The illustration of Roman's combat prowess and its overwhelming nature is quite a sight to see, and it is not something that is just a one-off. He is truly capable of utter domination if left to his own devices. As we have clearly stated though, there are a lot of problems for him to face, and so a lot of opportunity to see just what he's capable of now. So if you're a fan of the manhwas or overpowered manhwas similar to Supremely Talented Player from my previous videos, and are curious to see what a person of immense power could do in a fantasy setting, then Descendant from Divinity would be worth taking a look at for your next reading session. Our next manhwa to go over is I Will Escape from the Flower of Trials, a modern manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 59 on. The focus of this story is on an unnamed actress who falls asleep from reading a script for a melodrama called Flower of Ordeal. When she wakes up though, she realizes that she is now Cha Ye-ryun, the villainess of the melodrama that she was thinking of auditioning for. Except this isn't part of a shoot, but rather real life? What's going on? As she slowly copes with her new situation, what will she have to do to get out? Act out a proper Cha Ye-ryun? Cha Ye-ryun dies though as part of the story. This can't happen. Time to start looking for a way out. The story is 8 out of 10. With Ye-ryun having read the original script, she has the whole plot inside of her head. Like with other villainous manhwa, there must be some sort of way out of the situation. Well, expect a lot of twists and turns not only from the original script itself, but also because of how Ye-ryun chooses to go about the story as she walks through it herself. In addition, the overall pacing of it is actually quite quick, but not enough to leave you questioning, but doesn't really idle either. The characters are 8 out of 10. Flower of Ordeals as a script drama has quite a number of characters that you would usually see in a drama. With the Ye-ryun now inhabiting that world, there are also others to keep a note of and how they might affect the overall plotline. It still leaves some questions though. Are the people/characters that are a part of the drama allowed to do their own thing or not? The art is 7 out of 10. From its illustrations of both the environment and characters, this manhwa draws you in actually. The overall aesthetic and art style just has this particular look and feel that piques at least my personal interest. Honestly, and I don't want to spoil too much, it has to do a lot more with a supposed reason as to why Ye-ryun is stuck in this world. So if you're a fan of villainous manhwa and are curious to see how an actress might react if she was actually put into the world of the drama where she must change her fate or perish, then I Will Escape from the Flower of Trial should be bookmarked for a later read. Another week, another highlight. For those unaware, this is the section of the video I update impressions for manhwa that I've previously covered. Today's highlight is Farmer of Spirits, which I've now read up to completion, which goes up to chapter 192. Info card and description will have links to my original opinion. Our favorite dimensional superhuman farmer, Gunwoo, has had his fair share of events happen throughout the chapters that lead to the finale of the manhwa. Of course, usually I would talk about the particular story points, but since it's been completed, I will just say that it wraps the majority, if not all, of the plot points and questions that people could have. Of course, you may have future ones considering the particular ending, but I think it ended on a good note overall. Gunwoo and his family are just a delightful family that puts a smile on my face. In some ways, it's sad to see it go. My previous scores for this manhwa were 10 out of 10 for characters, 9 out of 10 for art, and 7 out of 10 for story. The characters stay the same at 10 out of 10 as Gunwoo, Hawa, and all the others continue to be the cute and lovable ones we've grown to love over the 175 plus chapters we've been reading for. At this point, how many kids will Gunwoo have? The art also keeps its score at 9 out of 10 as the cute backgrounds, character drawings, and overall light atmosphere that I talked about in my original opinion keeps its course throughout the last 30 chapters as well, while also providing some necessary payoff on a subplot that had readers waiting for quite a long time. The story goes up 1 point from 7 out of 10 to 8 out of 10. Given that it has ended and my overall feelings can be summed up by "it was satisfying," that should give an indicator of the whole manhwa as a package. And since it sums up the majority of the questions and plot that readers had, it gets that score of 8. Pharma of Spirits has been a manhwa that I've read for quite a number of years now, and I'm glad that I got to follow along its journey to completion. If you're looking for a completed modern fantasy manhwa with an overall cute and light vibe and atmosphere to it, then I would very heavily recommend Pharma of Spirits. Would you agree, or would you not? Make sure to comment down below your thoughts on Pharma of Spirits. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Write in the comment section down below what manhwa you've been reading, and I might just take a look. Till next time though, have a good read.